It's a complete guide to keeping possession in FIFA 22. I'm teaching you guys the ins and outs, formation, custom tactics, and techniques of keeping possession in FIFA 22.
Griezmann, 3 men around him to somehow find some space. Ronaldo, fantastic, opening the drive back.
He's made himself the tiniest bit of space.
Almost feels like a bit of a taunt. Didn't really go for him. Oh! The display there is absolutely ridiculous. The Elastico on the goal line. On the goal line, the finest.
We
of
talked about
margins.
AussieFIFA. He's not here to make up the numbers.
Limiting your skill moves and using them only in key situations. What I mean by that, it's important that you don't use skill moves until you get into key areas. It's because skill moves are risky, specifically if you do them in unnecessary situations. We're about keeping possession here. We're not about being skillful. We're about efficiency, keeping the ball, and then getting it up into the 18-yard box where you then might hit them with a drag back, with a ball roll, where they don't expect it because you haven't been using skill moves previously when you've built up. Pointless possession. Possession play needs to have a purpose, and I see time and time again players passing around the bat, slowly building up but making no progress in terms of their attack. So you need to bear in mind that there needs to be a purpose when you are keeping the ball. You need to know what times you need to progress forward and also what times you need to hold back and just keep that ball a little bit longer. All of this of course will be outlined for you guys in the segments in this tutorial, but this is certainly one thing that you should not do when keeping possession, is keeping pointless possession that makes no progress whatsoever. Choosing your formation. What I recommend for you guys is selecting a formation which is wide in nature. What I mean by that is using a formation which has wingers and where you can basically utilize the sideline, where you can hug it to keep the ball out on the wing and recycle it back and forth and even switch the ball a few times. That's one of the most crucial ways of keeping possession in FIFA 22, and it starts with the formation. In terms of actually setting up your team with custom tactics, although personally I don't use chance creation as possession in FIFA 22, it's something that you guys may want to use because what it does is draws the players into the space where they can receive the ball. However, I don't personally like this because my players don't seem to move as much when I have my custom tactics set on possession, and when I am keeping the ball I like to have a lot of movement going at once. I like to have my players making runs, and I just find having it set on possession doesn't do that for me. However, if you guys want to set that to possession to have your players draw into the spaces to receive the ball, then why not? It does work, it's just I don't personally like it. But in general, if you watch my custom tactics tutorial, I usually say keep most things on balance because you want to dictate how fast you're building up, the tempo of your game, and the runs that your players are making. If I want my players making runs, I'll tap the L1 button to make them run forward. If I want them coming towards me, I'll tap the R1 button for them to come towards me. I don't need any setting to do that personally for me, and I think you guys should get into a habit of not relying on custom tactics all that much when you are playing FIFA 22, and especially in keeping possession. What I do recommend, if you have CDMs, keeping them on stay back while attacking, okay, because I want them to stay a little bit deeper to receive the ball. But I find if they're up too far at the pitch, in amongst my cam, in amongst my striker, I don't find they're as available to receive the ball as much. In terms of your wingers, I don't usually touch them at all in terms of custom tactics. I don't even get them to get in behind. I usually leave them on default. In terms of your cam as well, if you have one, I highly recommend leaving him on default as well, because I do like my cam floating in amongst the midfield to receive the ball. If I have them on get in behind or come back, they're not as open, they're not floating around the space to receive that ball. So it's very important in my opinion to at least have your CM or your cam on default as well as your wingers to receive the ball and get into that space where they can turn and go. In terms of strikers though, it's a different situation. I usually like to have my strikers, or at least my front man, on getting behind because I want him making runs in amongst the defense. It's crucial that your front men are making runs in my opinion. Using your R1 or RB controls to call men forward. So when you tap R1 or RB, what actually happens is your player will come and receive the ball. They will come towards the ball holder so that you can play them the ball. This is crucial in keeping possession because in some situations you're not going to have many options. Your opponent will be pressurizing you. This is when it'll be crucial because you need someone showing to give you an option. I find this is exceptionally crucial when you have the ball with your wing back and you want to call the winger towards you to receive the ball and you want to make that next step up into your opponent's half. Recycling the ball. What it entails is you recycling the ball, and what I mean by that is having the ball out on the wing, having your opponent's defense shift towards that side of the wing, and then you recycling the ball back around through the midfield into your strikers where the gaps start to and the space starts to open up. And it's a very key way of attacking when you are a possession style player in FIFA 22. And it's just in general something that will naturally happen as a defense slides towards the side of the ball. Once you can get it down pat, you guys will benefit, and the way you can do it is using your wingers, using your wing bats, and having them hold the ball, having your CDMs come towards the ball to receive it, but then might pass it back to my wing bat just to have the ball in that possession in that area of the pitch, just to slowly have the defense of your opponent go that side. Once you notice that at least 60% of my opponent's team is starting to go over that side of the pitch, then you want to look for, what can I do here? I can go through my CDM, I can then go into my cam. Oh my god, look at the space that's opening up now, where I can pass it into my striker, turn and have a shot. Looking for the striker's feet, something that's actually quite easy to do this year with how passing is, and I have done a full tutorial on how to pass in FIFA 22. It's a full complete guide for you, so one of the segments in that is finding the striker's feet because of how crucial it is, specifically with a possession style player. What I mean by that is you taking your time, don't rush, and that's what possession's about. Playing it around the winger area, playing it around the midfield area until you find the opportunity to play the ball into your striker's feet. And the reason why is because once you find the striker's feet, what I find usually happens is you're dragging defenders out because they're following the striker with the ball, and eventually you start to open up space, open up gaps, because your cam starts making a run, your wingers start making a run when you have your striker with the ball, and it just seems to open up a lot more options. Specifically when you get down to the final third, you're able to turn, have a shot, or even find a pass to make a quick play, tick-a-tacker play in the end of the final third of your opponent's half. Using your wing bats a lot. Your wing bats are a staple in possession style play. It seems to draw the opponent over that side of the pitch, and I find a lot of the time you're able to keep the ball with your wing bats because there's not a lot of pressure being put onto them. You might have the winger running towards the wing back, but there's no midfielders or CDMs gaining up on them, so there's no real defenders out there. So you're able to keep the ball quite a lot with them and eventually, slowly but surely, draw the defense over to that side. I find my wing bats touch the ball probably more than any other player in my team, and that's because of how crucial they are in drawing defenders out, in keeping possession in general, and opening up space. Slow build up for the back third, quick tick-a-tacker passing in the final third. What I find, lads, is this is crucial. When you're keeping possession, you want to go slow. You don't want to always counter-attack, and it's important, use your wing bats to slowly build up the play, push forward. Use your CDMs to come receive the ball, find your winger, and just create those triangle-style passes whilst keeping a relatively high tempo. And then, once you get into that 18-yard box vicinity, that's when you start to do the quick plays. You don't want to be predictable and passing quickly in that final third after keeping possession for a long time can throw your opponent off, and you are controlling the pace of the game. Using specific skill moves that will help you keep possession. So that's skill moves like the ball roll, which is very good for turning away from the opponent and keeping your back towards him. If you're side by side with him, you may need to use a ball roll, take it away from him, turn and go the opposite direction. Other skill moves might be like the new 4-touch skill, which allow you to do a complete turnaround. So you can take the ball away from the approaching defender to then go the opposite way, maybe make a switch or make a pass to the available attacker. So it's crucial to use skill moves like this that will allow you to keep possession. Simple ones that will allow you to keep possession. Keeping your back towards your opponent. I outlined this in my dribbling tutorial. If you haven't seen it, lads, it's on the channel. Go and check it out. It's a complete guide to dribbling on FIFA 22. However, it is super important to keep your back towards your opponent so that you don't lose out on the ball. And the way you do that is with left stick dribbling. You're wanting to make sure that you're chopping the left stick, keeping small movements on that stick, and basically weaving in and out and waiting for your opponent to commit too far either to the left or either to the right so that you can burst into the space that's it's now opened up, and of course, retain possession. If you don't keep your back towards your opponent, you're more likely than not going to lose the ball. Possession inside the box, super important, especially for FIFA 22. We all know how overpowered goalkeepers are this year, and we need to find ways that we can pretty much get the 100% goal when attacking in FIFA 22. And that comes from keeping possession inside the 18-yard box area so that you can wait and create that chance, which is going to be a 100% goal. The way you do this is, of course, utilizing all of the techniques I've taught you on this tutorial. Keeping your back toward your opponent, utilizing certain skill moves to draw the ball away from the opponent, keeping a high tempo, and of course finding your striker's feet so that he can turn, maybe do a skill move and get that shot off. Utilizing your goalkeeper. A lot of people forget that they have an 11th man on the pitch. If you're taking a lot of pressure and you need to keep possession and you're looking for a pass, turn back to your goalkeeper. He's always going to be open. He's going to be able to pick out a man in the midfield with an L1 pass or L1 lob if need be. And it's a great way of keeping possession, especially when you're taking a lot of pressure from your opponent. But lads, this was my complete guide to keeping possession in FIFA 22. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, I'll give myself a plug. I'm doing tutorials on Instagram and TikTok, so go and check me out. Links are in the description down below as well, lads. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and have a good day. I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, adios, and goodbye.